Most FERS employees accidentally give away tens of thousands of dollars in pension benefits. Once you sign the retirement form, you can't undo it. So if you're within about 5 to 10 years of retiring under FERS, this might be the most important pension video you watch. So today I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest mistakes I see with FERS pensions and what to do instead so you don't accidentally give away a big chunk of your retirement benefit. And make sure to stick around for mistake number 5 because it's the one almost nobody talks about, but over a 20 to 30 year retirement, it can quietly cost you the most. Hi, I'm Tom, the founder of GT Wealth, and I work almost exclusively with federal employees under FERS who are getting ready to retire. So here's the main question I want to answer for you today. How do you keep from accidentally giving away a big chunk of your FERS pension? If you avoid these 5 mistakes, you keep more of your pension, you protect your spouse, and you retire a lot more confidently instead of second guessing every decision. So here's what we'll cover: the survivor benefit elections and spousal rights, retiring on the wrong side of a FERS rule, missing or miscredited service time, focusing on gross and ignoring net, and treating your pension in isolation instead of as a part of a full plan. So let's start with the survivor election because that's where a lot of the long-term damage happens. Let me give you a real-world example. I'll change the names around, but we'll call them John and Maria. John was about to retire under FERS with a pension estimate of roughly $3,000 per month gross. His plan was to elect no survivor benefit because, as he put it, Maria has her own Social Security and we want the full pension now. Now, on paper, that sounded pretty reasonable, but when we put real numbers to it, here's what it meant. Say John's gross FERS pension is $3,000 per month. If he chooses the full survivor benefit, John's own check while he's alive might be reduced from $3,000 down to about $2,700 per month. If John dies first, Maria would then receive about $1,500 per month for the rest of her life as a survivor benefit. Now, if he chooses no survivor benefit, John gets the full $3,000 per month while he's alive. But if he dies first, Maria gets zero from his FERS pension. It just stops. Now think about that over time. If Maria lives, say, 10 to 15 years after John, that $1,500 a month full survivor benefit is worth roughly $150,000 to $200,000 of extra income to her over her lifetime. That's not even counting inflation. Now, on top of that, choosing the survivor benefit is often what helps keep FEHB coverage for the survivor's spouse, which can be another very big dollar impact. And this is where a lot of people mess it up for 3 big reasons. First, they don't really understand the options, full versus partial versus none. Second, they don't realize that choosing less than the full survivor benefit usually requires spousal consent, which has to be signed and notarized correctly. And third, they don't understand that once OPM finalizes your election, changing it later is very limited and often impossible. So here's my general rule of thumb. If you're married and relying on this pension as a core piece of household income, you should at least run the numbers on full and partial survivor options and see what it means in real dollars for both you and your spouse. Sometimes a partial survivor benefit makes sense if you have other assets and insurance. Other times, the full survivor benefit is the safer route. Now, the key is don't guess. This is why we always model survivor options with both spouses before anyone signs anything. The form just shows you the checkboxes, right? It doesn't show you the math, and knowing the math shows you the lifetime impact. The second big mistake is retiring on the wrong side of a key FERS rule. I had someone tell me, I'm done, I'm leaving this summer, I can't take it anymore. And when we looked at their record, they were only a few months away from hitting a key FERS combination that would change everything. Under regular FERS rules, some of the big cliff points for an immediate retirement are reaching your minimum retirement age with 30 years of service, age 60 with 20 years, or age 62 with at least 5 years. There are special rules for certain positions, but let's just stick with the standard ones for now. So here's the issue though. If you leave before you qualify for an immediate retirement under one of these combinations, you might be looking at a permanent age reduction to your pension in some situations, or needing a deferred retirement instead of an immediate one, which can mean no FEHB in retirement and delayed income. Here's a simple example. Let's say you're 59 years and 9 months old with 20 years of service and you just want out. If you wait 3 more months and retire at age 60 with 20 years, you can qualify under that 60 with 20 rule. That could be the difference between a permanently reduced or deferred benefit today versus an immediate benefit with continued health care and no age penalty. Over a 25-year retirement, that kind of difference can easily add up to tens of thousands of dollars, plus the value of having FEHB in place. And remember our main question: how do you keep from accidentally giving away a big chunk of your FERS pension? One big way is don't let your emotional urge to retire ignore the FERS rules, and don't let being tired of the job cost you for the rest of your life. Before you circle a date on the calendar, confirm which FERS category you fall under and whether shifting that date a few months could dramatically improve your outcome. And by the way, if you want help checking your own dates and what categories you qualify under, that's exactly what I walk through in my federal retirement analysis. Check out the link below the video for more details, but for now, let's talk about missing service because that can shrink your pension before you even get the math. If you are a FERS employee in your 50s or early 60s, this is one I really want you to check. It's missing or miscredited service time. So military service, temporary time, or any period that requires a deposit that hasn't been made. I worked with a client who thought they had right at 30 years of service. When we pulled their official record, several years of earlier temp service wasn't counted because the deposit hadn't been made. They also had military service that wasn't fully credited. Under FERS, credible service is what counts towards the years that go into the pension formula. And in many cases, your eligibility for different retirement categories. The basic FERS formula is a percentage of your highest 3 salary times your years of service. So fewer years directly reduces the pension. If someone thinks they have 30 years and they really only have 27, and their high 3 is, let's say, $100,000, that's roughly 1% times 100,000 times 30 equals 30,000 per year, versus 1% times 100,000 times 27 equals 27,000 per year. That's a $3,000 per year difference. Over 25 years, that's about $75,000 less in lifetime pension, not counting cost of living increases. Here's a simple checklist you can use well before you file. First, request your service history from HR or your servicing personnel office and get it in writing. Second, verify that your military time, temp time, and any other special periods are correctly listed and that any required deposits or redeposits have been made. Third, if something looks off, work on fixing it years before you retire, not 30 days before you send your packet to OPM. The mistake here is assuming the record is perfect. Sometimes it is, and honestly, sometimes it isn't. You want to find out now while there's still time to fix it and keep that pension you've earned. The fourth mistake is focusing on the gross pension number and ignoring what actually hits your checking account. Now, most people, they see the estimate from their agency and think, great, I'm getting $3,000 a month. And then they're shocked when the direct deposit is much lower. So let's walk through this. Say your FERS estimate shows a gross pension of $3,000 per month. Now we start subtracting. Maybe you elected a survivor benefit, so there's a reduction there. You keep FEHB in retirement, which is a fantastic benefit, by the way, but those premiums come out of your pension. Maybe you still have FEGLI life insurance, so that's another deduction. Then federal income taxes plus possible state taxes depending on where you live. And by the time you take the survivor reduction, FEHB, FEGLI, and federal and potential state tax, $3,000 gross can easily become something like $1,800 or $2,200 actually landing in your bank account each month depending on your specifics. So you don't live on your estimate, you live on what hits your checking account. This is directly related to our main question: how do you keep from accidentally giving away a big chunk of your FERS pension? Well, one way is making sure you're planning your retirement based on net income and not just the gross numbers. So when you look at pension estimates, always run a net of deductions version, and then coordinate that net number with your planned TSP withdrawals and Social Security start dates so you can see where your tax brackets and IRMA thresholds really end up. Now, this last one is the silent killer, treating the pension in isolation. A lot of people, they make their pension elections, separately decide when to start Social Security, and then separately decide how and when to pull from their TSP. And the problem is, all of these decisions interact with each other. So let me give you an example. I worked with a couple who had already locked in their pension choices. They picked early Social Security start dates and then started drawing fairly large amounts from their TSP to feel comfortable those first few years in retirement. Now, individually, none of those decisions looked awful, but when we added everything together, here's what we saw. Their combined income pushed them into a higher federal tax bracket than they expected. A big chunk of their Social Security now became taxable, and they were bumping into IRMA thresholds, which meant higher Medicare premiums down the road. They hadn't necessarily done anything wrong, but taken together, it was a very expensive way to structure their retirement income. So think of it like this. Your pension plus TSP and IRAs plus Social Security minus taxes equals your spendable income. Your pension choice affects how much you need from the TSP, how quickly you climb up through the tax brackets, and what happens to household income if you pass first. Your survivor benefit choice should also match the rest of your plan, the size of your TSP and IRA balances, any life insurance you have, and what income your spouse will have on their own if something happens to you. And since this is all household income, your pension is not a solo decision. Your spouse should absolutely be part of these conversations. This is often the most expensive mistake because everything can look fine on its own, but the combined tax and Medicare impact over 20 to 30 years can be huge. So let's quickly recap the 5 big mistakes we covered. First are the survivor benefit elections and spousal rights, so guessing on full versus partial versus none without seeing the impact on your spouse and FEHB. Second is picking the wrong retirement category or dates, so walking away just before you qualify for a much better benefit and possibly losing FEHB. Third is missing credible service, not catching military or temp time that should count towards your pension. Fourth is ignoring reductions and taxes, planning off of a gross number instead of what actually hits your bank account. And fifth is not coordinating with TSP, Social Security, and your spouse, making separate decisions that quietly raise your taxes and long-term costs. So at the start of the video, I asked the question, how do you keep from accidentally giving away a big chunk of your FERS pension? A big part of the answer is avoiding these 5 mistakes. But the deeper question most people actually care about is, are we going to run out of money or pay way more in taxes than we need to if we retire when we want to? That's exactly what our full federal retirement blueprint is designed to answer. In that process, we model your first pension, TSP and other accounts, Social Security timing, and your tax picture so you can see on one screen how all of these pieces work together before you make your final decisions. So if you're retiring under FERS in the next 5 to 10 years, and you want a second set of eyes on this before you lock it in, here's what to do next. Click the link in the description to go to my federal retirement page and request your blueprint call. You'll answer a few questions about your assets and goals. Then we'll schedule a call where I'll walk you and your spouse through your numbers so you can sign those forms with confidence instead of guessing. Now, if you found this helpful, I'd encourage you to watch this next video right here. This is where I'll take you into my planning software and walk you through a federal retirement case study where we dig into the real numbers and projections. So thank you all for watching. Click here to watch the next video, and I'll see you in the next one.